There are four parts to this demonstration of Zebra at work. The first portion has already been completed and shown. This is a walkthrough through the second portion, and we'll generally compare the performance of Zebra with CNC machines, and these would be the various steps that we will go through. A CNC machine needs to turn out this component, which is a composite of various processes. But the entire drawing which enables or which describes this component is translated by CNC procedures into numbers, and hence these are all coordinates. The purpose of this original illustration is to show that the element of misunderstanding between instructions given and instructions understood is nil. Hence, the entire drawing is translated into coordinates for the cutting tool to be located at a particular time, and the processor inbuilt into the CNC machine is identical. Hence, the component of misunderstanding is nil. These are numbers generated and these are numbers understood. Just as a machine component would have various processes like turning, milling, burring and more, in business project management there are parameters like the project parameters, then there are financial parameters, but more important, there are the cognitive behavior parameters when you're dealing with human capital. These three parameters of projects, financials and cognitive behavior need to be digitized into coordinates, so that the human capital or the knowledge worker or the individual to whom these instructions are passed, the element of misunderstanding should be nil. And that is why these are also converted into numbers and passed on to each individual. And the only known numeric number which can be understood across various languages and by individuals without any misunderstanding is time, or in hours. So for example, if an individual is given the time factor say in 17 hours, the element of misunderstanding is nil. 17 is a universal number and hours is a universal measure. In a more detailed drawing of the coordinate generator, the input parameters as shown on the left here are generated into units, but these units are required both for each individual employed in a particular task or a phase, and then again for the entire team, and the unit is consistently in hours. Here is an illustration of Zebra actually at work. There are 387 projects which Zebra is managing simultaneously. There are 130 people deployed into 387 projects, and any number of parameters affecting the project, either by virtue of its specifications or by people who are managing or administrating the project, or by virtue of the staff which are deployed in managing the project. Also, far as the external circumstances are concerned dealing with the client and regulatory authorities, if any of these parameters change, which we have just shown actually in Zebra, instantly the coordinates for each individual and then for the team changes correspondingly. Since the entire controls are digital for all 387 projects that we are showing over here now, and there would be results, a change in a particular project, a person may have left or may not be present, but since he's involved in 5 or 6 different projects, all the changes are reflected instantly and communicated with each individual. Zebra generates this output for every phase of a project and each project, and this is dynamically generated regardless of a change in any of the parameters affecting the project. For example, all the financial parameters are shown on the top. These are the parameters of the output for each phase of a project. Let's examine in this particular case that this is the University of Iowa, and for their campus, and for their construction documentation phase there are 15 individuals, the knowledge workers who are deployed, and for this entire team of 15 people, all the financial parameters state that the entire work has to be completed in 3057 hours and spread over 2 months, July and August. Further, each individual deployed in this particular phase, and there are 15 over here. Let's take the case of Michael Anderson. Michael Anderson needs to complete the work assigned to him in 168 hours by putting in 3 hours and 49 minutes per day, 76 hours for the month of July and 88 hours for the month of August. This information detail, this is digital information as explained earlier, is given for each individual. We have just seen how Zebra converts the project parameters into hours for the entire team and then hours for the individual. But it so happens that individuals may be multitasking and working on any number of different tasks or phases simultaneously. Here is the case of William Skaternich, who is working on almost 6 or 7 phases simultaneously. The logic is precisely the same. For each phase, the number of hours that he needs to put in is 118, and over the next 6 months, he needs to put in for this particular phase just 1 hour 41 minutes per day. This is repeated for ease of understanding for each of the phase that he is assigned with. But what is noteworthy, that at the end of the day for the month of July, it's just 9 hours and 2 minutes. He may have to put in an hour and 2 minutes overtime for the month of July and then again for the month of August. But September onwards, he is underutilized, as it can be seen. So by watching Zebra at work, the consistency factor is dealt with, and this was shown in what we have called report A and report B. This is for the entire project, and this is a report for each individual. We have just walked through how Zebra maintains consistency in the output in managing human capital. Now, CNC machines have a very high degree of accuracy, and this accuracy is basically maintained through continuous feedback from the cutting tool with reference to the instructions given. Human capital management simulates this procedure, and in the performance metric which we are about to demonstrate now, and in the measurement to reflect what is the level of accuracy achieved by Zebra in managing human capital. Zebra maintains this accuracy for each knowledge worker forming a part of the firm. Here is a typical case in point for Charles French. Charles French has been assigned 1, 2, 3 and 4, 7 and 8 different tasks simultaneously, as explained earlier. In the first week, when the work was assigned to him for a particular phase, your Des Moines Arts Center, the hours assigned to him to complete the task were 9. Similarly, for the next phase, it is 35, 17 and so on. However, by the end of the first week, for the 9 hours assigned to him, he has completed 2 hours, giving him a balance of 7. Correspondingly, 35 hours assigned, he has completed 10, and here it is 25. But remember, all this is for the first week. What is noteworthy is that Zebra assigns the work for the entire month and monitors the feedback every week, which gives the individual, in this case French Charles, the entire remaining 3 weeks to focus on the work which is pending and which he has not started yet. In the case of French Charles, the work that has been assigned to him is 128 hours. What he has completed is 29 hours, and there are 99 hours pending. But what is unusual is that for this particular phase, he has actually put in 1 hour. But what is really noteworthy is that he was not assigned to this phase at all. So we have just analyzed the performance of French Charles for the month of July, for the first week from the 1st through the 7th of July. Let us quickly walk through what he has done every week. And here we are, so far as the second week of July is concerned, right up to from the beginning to the 14th. And here would be a summary. that same 128 work hours were assigned to him, but now he has completed 54, leaving him only 74. Previously there were 99 hours left. Moving on to the next week, and we can see there's constant progress taking place over here. Now he has done 83 hours, leaving him 45, and moving on to yet the next week down there. Now he has only 37 hours, but please note he's still got a few days left over here, that we are still on July 28th, and now coming to the end of the month and working on the principles that cognitive behavior and the variance in human inputs through motivation and correct instructions can achieve good results. Here we can see in just the last 3 days which French Charles had, he has complied with the hours that were pending and there's nothing left over here. So he has completed his task on time, and this is done for all the 130 employees month after month for each of the phase that they are deployed in. Here is actual data over the years to show that accuracy is not just maintained as we have shown through the measurement of feedback, where French Charles completed his work precisely as requested. Let us see how this affects the business performance of the company over the years. Zebra sets up its parameters based upon any number of inputs, protected profitability and the financial parameters being important and being one of them, and this helps in determining the hours for each individual and for the complete team. For every project which Zebra manages, and in this case there are 387, these parameters are basically inherited. They are imported right from the company's rules. However, since projects are undertaken and they have their own nuances, these can be set right depending on what conditions the project was undertaken. And in this case of Burlington Schools, these are the projected parameters of what the profitability should be. In the process of development, to understand the difference between what was forecasted and what is the reality on the basis of how Zebra manages the entire team and individuals, the case study was taken for Burlington Schools where the projected profits were 103,193. The actual profits after completion, which took this entire project almost 3 years, differentiated by only 31 cents. Since this was a single pilot study, the next study that was carried out was for 10 random projects. And for 10 random projects, here are the 10 random projects, the projected profitability is in red and the actual profitability is in black. As you can see, the two lines are almost mirroring each other. On the basis of the results and the feedback management which Zebra offered over here, ultimately the test was carried out over 90 sizable projects carried out over a number of years, and here are the results for the projected and actual profitability for 90 projects. And as you can see, for all 90 projects, the profitability projected was 2,005,264, and what was in reality was 2,009,149, but a difference of $3,885 or less than 0.1%. This completes the demonstration of the consistency generated by Zebra, and through feedback the accuracy that Zebra maintains during the entire life cycle of a project.